Welcome, folks. I'm Jaby Koay, joined by Achara Kirk.
What's up?
We're looking at Screen Rant's pitch meeting of Spider-Man Homecoming. This is actually going to be released in backwards order because we're going to put out our pitch meeting reaction for No Way Home first, and then Homecoming, and then Far From Home, because that makes sense. Thank you, Screen Rant, for allowing us to react to this. Very, very much appreciate it. Y'all, if you haven't already, subscribe to Screen Rant. There's a link in the description below for the video we're about to watch if you like what you see. And click on that link, give the original upvote, subscribe to them from there. Also, please subscribe here, bell icon, all notifications, and vote this up to let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. Okay, Spider-Man Homecoming pitch meeting. And then keep a lookout for Far From Home, and, well, you've already seen No Way Home. Okay, here we go.
So what's the movie about? Well, it takes place a couple of months after Civil War. Okay, so Tony Stark has just made a big deal about superheroes having to be responsible. Exactly. So at the beginning of this movie, Tony leaves a weaponized spider suit with a high school student and then doesn't take his calls. Oh, very cool. Yeah, and it's equipped with a ton of crazy stuff. There's a bunch of web modes, a recon drone, glider wings, web grenades, even an instant kill mode that kind of turns on by itself. And Tony just leaves that in the hands of a teenager. Well, he left a software block on the crazier stuff. Oh, so it's impossible for Peter to access those modes. Actually super easy, barely an inconvenience. Really? Yeah, well, Peter's friend Ned from high school hacks into the suit and just unblocks everything. Oh, hacking. They also take a tracker route so Tony and Happy can't see where he goes. So Stark Technology's like the best in the world. This Ned guy must be really smart. He's not? I mean, I guess technically he is, but we're gonna play him as really dumb. Oh, interesting. Yeah, like in the first part of the movie, he keeps loudly asking Peter super sensitive questions. Oh, that's dumb. Yeah, you'd think that would be a no-brainer for anyone, right? And he's able to hack Stark Tech. He is, so Peter has access to a bunch of functionalities.
There are people who are like idiot savants, who are very, very clever at technical stuff, but bad at social stuff.
Yeah.
You know, who are good
100%.
with computers, but not so great with the talking and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
I knew those people at school.
That's possible. You know, some people are really good at YouTube, for instance, but have a tendency to put their foot in their mouth. That was actually just me.
I thought it was you.
Yeah, I didn't mean Char's the opposite. Terrible at YouTube, never puts her foot in her mouth.
I do.
Interesting. Yeah, and it was really fun to write, because whenever I didn't know how to solve a problem in a scene, I was like, oh, well, maybe the Stark suit has a mode to solve this. That's smart. Yeah, and when that didn't work, I just have Iron Man swoop in and save the day. People like Iron Man. They do. Oh, that reminds me, the suit has a Jarvis interface, so we might have to get Paul Bettany back if possible. Oh, actually, we can't do that. How come? Well, he's transformed into Vision now. Oh, that's right. I can see if his wife is available.
What?
Jennifer Connelly, yeah, perfect. Great. So does this
Is that really how
Is it?
Casting ASAP. It does. He's called the Vulture. The Vulture. So kind of like he's like a bird man. A bird man. Okay. I can work with that, that'll help. Awesome. So what's his deal? Well, he was hired to clean up alien debris after the invasion in the first Avengers movie.
So it's fascinating to see like Michael Keaton's transition from Batman to Birdman to Vulture Man. I know he's not called Vulture Man, but still.
Yeah.
It's just like winged people.
Interesting, tying it together. Yeah, but then he was fired, so he became a supervillain to support his family. Just a 180 like that. Yeah, pretty much immediately. So he and his crew start stealing alien debris and use them to make super weapons. Oh, you'd think the government would be keeping really close watch on that stuff. You'd think so, but we jump forward 8 years in time and Vulture's doing great, no problems at all. Wow. Yeah, and it's like they're not even being that secretive about it. No? No, they're just selling to like run-of-the-mill criminals for robberies and stuff. Just anyone. It seems that way, plus one of the guys likes to demo them in open spaces. At another point, they're literally on the news. And nobody's looking too deeply into this. Not really, no, but Spider-Man decides to. Oh, he does he? Yeah, and it's gonna lead to some pretty crazy action. Like, we're really stepping things up from the older Spider-Man movies. I'm listening. So you know in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, there's Peter's love interest falling from high up inside a tower? Yeah. Well, in this movie, we're gonna have Peter's love interest falling from high up inside a tower, except now that tower is the Washington Monument. What's wrong? I think that's a mistake. It is? Yeah, I do. I think the Washington Monument is technically an obelisk, not a tower. Oh, but you like the idea. Oh yeah, no, I love the idea. Love interest falling from high up, that's amazing. Great, and we're also gonna do the Jesus thing from Spider-Man 2. Jesus thing? You know when Tobey Maguire is trying to stop a train with some webs and it looks like he's gonna poop? Oh yeah. Yeah, so basically that, but with a ferry that gets cut in half. How does he manage to get the ferry back together? Well, I couldn't think of a way for the suit to take care of it, so Iron Man swoops in and saves the day. Gotcha, that's a good system, right? It made this so easy to write. So what's the climax of the movie? Oh, so Happy Hogan is having a bunch of super dangerous and valuable stuff shipped for Tony. He does that even though there's this big bad guy flying around stealing dangerous and valuable stuff? Yes, he does. So I guess he's gonna have some pretty crazy security on that shipment. No, he puts it on a plane and sets the plane to autopilot. That's it? Oh, it's invisible. Does that help? No. How did the Vulture and his team learn so much about the plans to ship this stuff? Oh, we're not gonna explain that. Oh, that's a gutsy move, because some people might consider that lazy writing, but I know you're just trying to keep some mystery. I like it. Yes, because of the mystery, that's why I did that. And how does the movie end? Well, Tony had taken Peter's suit away because he went after the Vulture, which was reckless. Right. And at the end, he offers him a new suit because he went after the Vulture, which was brave. Okay, so Spider-Man ends the movie with an even better suit. Actually, no, that's a pretty big moment. Go on. Tony offers him this amazing Iron Spider suit, but he's like, no thanks. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a huge character moment. I like that. Right? It sends the message of like, I don't need Iron Man. Exactly, by not taking the suit, it's like, I am my own person. Yeah, and I think the decision to not get in the suit is really gonna define the character moving forward. I love it.
Oh.
It's very fascinating to see like the older, or I mean the younger Ryan George.
I know. I was gonna say that it was just kind of interesting watching that, because I guess as the years have gone by, the character has really morphed. And even in our interview with him, he was like, when he starts to do the character, he just makes that face, that like manic face of.
Yeah.
And then he's ready to go. But here, he doesn't have that yet.
This is less refined. I mean, with anything, it becomes more and more refined with time. He finds his footing as to what is working and what's not. And he like he said in the interview, he paid attention to the comments and saw what people were into. And eventually it evolved into two people who were just really excited about a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Not that this is terrible, but like that's just the sort of seed.
The conceit.
Yeah, the conceit of it. It's like in the wrong direction. They're very happy about it. And I think that there are, pros and cons to both versions of Pitch Meeting, like the younger, less refined version and the newer version. I think I'm more into the newer version.
Me too.
Just because of the energy.
Yeah.
But there is something funny and clever about this. It's very dry, like The Office.
Yeah.
And it's a different tone. It's almost like the difference between, this is a weird reference, I guess, but it's almost like the difference between season 1 and season 10 of Friends. The energy is wildly different. The pacing, the editing, it's very, very different. Here there's no stepping of lines, whereas there's way more stepping of lines, meaning like if overlapping.
Yeah.
In the newer Pitch Meeting. But anyway, to what he's saying, yeah.
I mean, they're all good points. I've heard the criticism that the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, at least up until this recent one, have felt like they've just basically not really been Spider-Man movies, because they've been more of an extension of the Avengers or Iron Man. Like, he hasn't really done a lot of his own stuff. He's kind of like Iron Boy. I see that criticism, and did I enjoy the heck out of the movie though? Yes, absolutely. It's one of my favorite Spider-Man movies.
It's so fascinating to me how, let's like Save the Cat, it has to be the same but different, because what they did with Spider-Man is kind of genius if you think about it. It's like, okay, so we got Tobey Maguire, we got Andrew Garfield. They're basically the same superhero, right? Like it's just the actor lending their personality to it to make it different. And of course the writing of that version of Peter Parker, but they're still the same character.
Sure, and then like the slight different nuances of a different universe, as it were, right?
Well, yeah. Whereas with the Tom Holland, it's completely revamped because he's essentially Iron Man's Padawan, right?
Yes.
And that it's a completely different flavor. He actually feels like he's in high school. But I actually thought it was cool how they integrated like the Iron Man tech with Spider-Man to make it completely different.
Yeah, I liked it. I like the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies a lot, actually.
I guess what you have are Spider-Man purists who just want that version of Spider-Man back, him actually having his own adventure. But I thought it works. I thought it was working really well. But fair point, because at the end he's like, oh, Tom Holland, I remember that moment because he goes, hey, I passed the test, right? I didn't just give in. When Iron Man was like, no, in his mind he's like, I totally wanted you to be part of the Avengers, kid. But he just let him go because he was like, I guess you thought that was the test. Obviously that didn't go anywhere in particular because he ended up becoming part of the Avengers anyway.
They needed the help,
right?
The team split up.
Right. There were definitely some plot conveniences that were mentioned here, like Iron Man just showing up to save the day and the Jesus thing that he said, or you know, that pose to pull. I did think about that, but that's like, what else would Spider-Man do? Honestly, because he's coming from his spider strength, his super strength, to pull something together. You don't have a heck of a lot of options for how Spider-Man might pull that off.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If he's stopping a train or reassembling a ship.
Yeah.
It's gonna look similar.
Yeah.
Like he's pooping. So
it really did look like Tobey Maguire was pooping though.
Yeah, anyway, this is cool. Going back through time a little bit. 2017.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. How does that feel like it was yesterday and yet 100 years ago?
5. That's not good math. I'm kidding. Actually, it's 4 years ago.
4.
That's even funnier because I'm calling out your bad math while doing bad math. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Subscribe to Screen Rant. There's a link in the description below. Also, check out Ryan George's videos. They're pretty awesome. Subscribe here, bell icon, all notifications. Vote this up. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
Achara Kirk.
Peace out.